everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be sharing my full review, 3 tutorials, tons of swatches and comparisons of the new palette from Patrick Ta. It's all fingerprinted up, y'all. That's just what happens with this kind of packaging. It gets lots of fingerprints. This is called the Major Dimension 2, and it is the Rose eyeshadow palette. So this retails for $68. I went ahead and picked it up on the Sephora website and saved the 20% because the sale is going on right now. And this palette is set up just like the other palette. You have the 2 cream shadows here on the end. And then you have 5 shimmer shadows and 5 matte shadows. It has a nice mixture of warm, cool, and neutral tones. There's also some pearlescent shades in this palette, similar to the first palette that he created. Lots to say about this palette. Like I said, I am going to be doing a full review on it. I'm going to be creating 3 eyeshadow looks for you guys and also sharing as many swatches and comparisons as I can. You guys know I like to share a lot of comparisons so that you guys can decide if this is something that you really need in your collection. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into the 3 eyeshadow looks, then we'll get into the swatches and comparisons, and then we will get into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. So let's dive into this new palette from Patrick Ta. So I just got it last night. It's mirrored, but it does have a little bit of a line here on the side that's not mirrored, which the packaging is really pretty. So let's open it up, and this is what the shades look like. You obviously have the creams here. So pretty. So let's dive into look number 1. I'm going to first go into this cream shade right here, and I'm just going to use the Sonia G Soft Shader. Now that applies really evenly, really easy. Doesn't dry too fast. It kind of allows you time to blend it out. You can see you can kind of take your finger and kind of tap those edges. Really easy formula to use. Now I'm just going to take a regular brush, and I'm going to go into the second matte right here, and I'm going to use that to blend it into the lid and kind of set that color. On those days that you want to just wear the cream shadow, just set it with something, and then you can really depend on it throughout the day to last and look pretty. Now I'm going to take the Sonia G Soft Definer brush, and I'm going to go into this shade, and I'm going to bring that right here on the outer corner. And I'm also going to bring that on the inner corner. Those cream colors are great base colors. They really are. So I'm going to take a clean fluffy brush and just go over these edges. Kind of blend them out. Now I'm going to take my blending brush and I'm going to dab into this shade, and I'm just going to kind of softly blend out any of those harsh lines. Kind of so pretty. So this shade right here, is gorgeous. One of the prettiest shimmers from him I've seen so far. Like, these are really pretty because they got a lot of different colors in them. They're definitely multi-dimensional. Really pretty. Then we have the one shimmer on the end. Look at that. That is a well pigmented palette. But I think for this look, I want to go into this shade right here. I think this shade will be really pretty with these colors. And the thing that I'm noticing right off the bat that I really like, and it's because I put that cream shadow down first, is the richness of the colors on the eyelid. They don't have that dry matte look to them. I'm going to take my Smith 253 and I'm going to go into this shade right here. And I'm going to place that right on the center of the lid and then kind of work it up from there. I think a finger might apply this better. I'm struggling a little bit to get it to kind of spread with a brush. Okay, let me try a different brush. I'm gonna grab the Rephr number 21. So the Rephr number 21 is working a little bit better than that Smith 253 brush was. By the way, the Rephr brushes are 40% off right now. So if anybody wants to take advantage of that sale, it's a pretty good sale. Now I'm gonna take a pencil brush. Now I'm gonna take a pencil brush and I'm gonna go into this shade and I'm gonna bring that right on the center, going all the way up. Okay, so I went ahead and threw on some concealer. Let's go to the lower lash line and kind of pull this together. And I'm gonna start it with that cream shadow, that first cream shadow that I used. I'm gonna place it right here on the under. So I'm gonna place it right here and kind of blend it out. Just to kind of mimic what I did on the upper, I'm gonna go into this shade and I'm going to blend that into the lower lash line. And then I'm going to take a flat definer from Sigma and I'm going to go into this shade and I'm going to keep it really close to the lash line. I want to see what this shade will look like as an inner corner highlight. And then I'm going to bring a little bit of that up on the brow bone. It's such a flaky shadow that you almost have to apply it and then kind of blend it out because it's quite flaky. It's just kind of one of those that needs to be blended. I don't know that I love that for the inner corner, so I don't know that I fully recommend that, but okay, I'm going to go ahead and throw on a lash and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I just went ahead and threw on a lash with a little bit of mascara on the lower lash line. I didn't want to go too overboard because I am going to take it off to do the third look. But this is really pretty. I like how it's kind of smoky at the base of the eye. And then more in the crease, it's a little bit lighter. Very dimensional, right? So one of the things about Patrick Ta's palettes, the last one and this one, is the dimension. And this look definitely has a lot of dimension. And all the shades blended beautifully. No issues with them whatsoever. And I really like the cream being the base. So I am very, very happy with this. So that's it for look number one. Let's go ahead and jump into look number two. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into look number two. So I'm going to start this look off using this shade right here. I'm going to bring that right into the crease and also sweeping it here on the lid. And then to blend it out, I'm going to try this shade right here. I'm going to leave that there for a minute. I have a lot of blending to do, but I'm going to go directly into one of the shimmer shadows. And I'm thinking I'm going to grab this shade right here. It's so pretty. I want to see how that applies with my Smith 253. And I'm going to bring that all over the lid. So my Smith 253 picked this shade up a little bit easier than it did the other shade on the other look. And I want to go into this shade right here. Now I have a feeling that's going to be quite pigmented, so I tapped off and I'm just going to slowly build that into the outer corner. And kind of blending it into, I'm going to go into this shade right here. And I am going to build this outer corner with that shade. My dogs are walking around if you can hear them. Then I'm gonna take a clean fluffy brush and just softly blend out those edges just to kind of get that. And I'm kind of using this outer corner to blend because I am going to be wiping that. So I'm not really worried about this outer corner. I want to dip into this shade because it does look like it's kind of a multi-dimensional. And I want to place that like right here on the center. I'm going to take that flat definer and I'm going to go into this shade right here. And I'm going to softly bring that right here. And then I'm just going to take a fluffy brush and blend that out. And I'm just going to keep building it until I like the dimension of it. Okay, now I'm going to take the eyeliner from Hindash. This is his new one. This is in the shade Intra. And I'm going to place that right on the lower lash line and then blink and then kind of use it as a guide for my upper lash line with a little bit of a wing. Not a lot. Now, y'all know I don't do big wings because I barely know how to do eyeshadow. But I do like a soft eyeliner wing just to kind of sharpen things up a little bit and give a little bit of structure to the eye. Okay, so I'm back. I went ahead and threw on a little bit of mascara, threw on the lash, and this is the final look for look number 2. And I really like the way that this look turned out. Both of the looks do look kind of similar, and that's because this is a multi-dimensional palette. So all the tones are kind of the same, just different levels of tones. So you'll have a lot of the looks look very similar, but I do like the way that look number 2 turned out. And I'm so excited to do the next look. So let's go ahead and jump into look number 3, which will be the final look. Let's go ahead and jump into look number 3. And I'm going to first start with the dark cream color. And I'm going to create a halo eye, but using the cream as the base. But I'm going to use a small brush so I have a little bit more control. So I'm going to use the Sigma smudge brush. This is the E21. I am going to focus that like right here. Now I just wiped the brush off because it does have quite a bit of pigment. Now I'm going to go on the inner corner. And then I'm going to kind of buff out those edges with a clean brush. I'm going to take a clean fluffy brush and just kind of go up here into this inner corner and kind of buff that out. It blends so easily. That cream shadow is fantastic. I'm going to go in one more time and just kind of deepen it up. So pretty and so easy to work with. Like, it just applies flawlessly and it blends so easily. Now I'm going to go into this shade right here. I'm going to be careful with this, but I'm going to put this like right over top, but keeping it in the center so that I can blend to the outer corners. So I'm just placing that color here on the center, and then I will go in and blend it out. So same thing, I'm putting it kind of right here, and then I'll blend it out. Now I'm going to take the Rephr number 26 brush, and I'm going to go into this shade right here, and I am going to kind of blend out these edges, adding a little bit of something here just to soften up the edges. but I don't want to add a lot of pigment there. I just want to use it to soften it up, just to kind of make it have that blend and that fade. That is a very easy cream formula, like one of the best, seriously. So easy to use. I'm gonna go into this shade. I'm so excited to use it. This really pretty light color. And I feel like with the dark, it will really pop there on the center. So I'm gonna grab my Smith 253 and I'm gonna see if the Smith 253 will apply it. If not, I'll switch the brush. Yeah, see, that brush just doesn't, I normally never have issues with this brush, but there's certain, you know, this is the particular pigment that just, that brush does not like to pick it up. I'm gonna switch to the Rephr 21. And I want that shade to kind of peek out and up and into the crease. I'm gonna grab a little bit of this shade right here and I'm gonna put that like right here. All right, now I'm gonna take a small pencil brush and I'm gonna go into this dark shade right here. And I'm gonna put this here on the outer corner and right here on the inner corner. Just right at the base of the lashes to give it some depth and then kind of blend it into the crease. This is turning out so beautiful. And even though this is similar to look number 1, I love that lighter shade popping in the middle. It's just so beautiful. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the lower lash line. So I'm gonna take that Sigma brush, that small smudge, and I'm gonna go into that cream shade and bring it right here and right here. I'm gonna take a small pencil brush and just blend it out. And I'm gonna go into the dark matte and I'm gonna bring that right over top of both of those shadows, just to set that cream in place. So I'm gonna take a small pencil brush. This is the Rephr number 3, and I'm gonna go into this shade right here. I'm gonna put that right here. That shade is a little bit hard to work with because it's so chunky. Like I said in my other tutorial, so look how it's sitting on the brush. See how it's really flaky in the brush? Because of the flakiness, you kind of have to blend it to get it to kind of pop. So I'm gonna try to like put it on and then now dampening it might help with that. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the other eye, throw on a lash, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I love the way this eyeshadow look turned out. It's absolutely beautiful. And I have so much to say about this palette, so much. So that's it for look number 3. Let's go ahead and jump into the swatches. And I'm gonna swatch this palette and compare it to other palettes that I have in my collection that might be similar. And then we will get into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, so I'm back. I do hope that those swatches and comparisons were helpful. Let me go ahead and get into my final thoughts. If you guys did not see my review of the original palette, I really liked this palette. I liked the cream shadows. I loved the matte shades, but I did not really like the topper shades, meaning these 3 shades in particular. I didn't like this shade because that shade is more like a matte shade with a little bit of sparkle, and it just was kind of pointless in the palette, to be completely honest. And then this shade right here and this shade kind of have that texture where they get hard panned. So I kind of have to take my fingernail and dig it and pick it up, or a piece of tape to kind of lift. So these were not my favorite. I didn't mind this shimmer shade, and the mattes were fantastic. But this palette, I feel like they stepped it up on the pigment. So even though these look like they're getting hard panned, they swatch and pick up so differently than the others do. And even though I've swatched them a few times because I just got done doing the swatches, they pick up perfectly. So with all of that said, I don't have anything negative to say about any of the formulas in this palette. In fact, I think they nailed it. 100% nailed it. This is what you expect from a $68 palette. Like, every shade blended perfectly. I love the cream shadows to be the base, or on those days where you don't really want to worry about fallout and you want to pull out the cream shadow and throw it on the lid and throw it a little bit in the crease and you're good. Like, this is a great palette. Fantastic palette. Now, I will say, I don't feel like this is a necessary palette unless you just love these rose tones. If you're someone that wears a lot of berries, a lot of mauve eyeshadows, then this is probably going to be one of your favorite palettes. But if you're somebody that doesn't wear the color story that often, you probably have enough of this color story in other palettes for those days where you want to do those mauve-y kind of berry eyeshadow looks. You can see that this is very similar to Charlotte Tilbury as far as just her overall tones, right? She does do a lot of berries and a lot of mauves in her quads. And as you can see by these swatches, this new palette from Patrick Ta is very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury, the new Pillow Talk Dream Quad that she just launched. I mean, those are some similar shades. Almost identical. The only difference is the Patrick Ta toppers are a little bit more sparkly and they have that super shine to them, that pearlescence, versus more of that shimmer and foiled kind of metallic shade in the Pillow Talk Dream. But you can see they are so similar. If you were thinking about getting the Pillow Talk Dream Quad and you didn't really want to spend the money to get it, but you kind of wanted it but didn't want to spend the money, this Major Dimension 2 palette from Patrick Ta is definitely similar enough that you definitely don't need both, and you could pick it up and feel better about it because there's more shades than what's in the Pillow Talk Dream. I think it's all going to boil down to, if you wear those berry mauve tones, then you'll love this. If you don't wear them as much, then I don't really think this is necessary. If this is on your radar, I would pick it up during the Sephora sale, because if you wait, it might take a minute to come back into stock. It just might. Those are my overall thoughts. Sound off down below in the comment section. How many of you guys have picked up this palette? And if you have, what was your experience? Are you loving it? Are you not? I'm so curious to hear your thoughts. So sound off down below. Let us know. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.